Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Well, that's 10 minutes of our life we'll never get back. What a tragic waste of space. Absolute waste of space. From the patronising heights of Ōrākei, telling us that older people don't need better support to go to a doctor. Thank you very much for that contribution, Mr O'Connor. I am so pleased it's on the public record, and I will enjoy knocking on the doors of SuperGold holders in your electorate and making sure that they have heard your contribution to this debate. I want to commend the Right Honourable Winston Peters for bringing this bill back to the House. I think it's a very good bill, and I'm delighted to be supporting it. The member who tragically is the chair of the Health Select Committee, still I think, said that National would do anything to improve the health of New Zealanders. Any proposal would have good discussion. 3 minutes into his speech, the first speaker from National, he said he was going to vote against this bill. One of those statements isn't true. Perhaps neither of them are true. But you can't give a good idea any consideration unless it goes from this House to a select committee, and that's where it should have gone. He also made, I think it was a sort of Ian McKelvey type of contribution. Remember Ian McKelvey a couple of weeks ago said he was wondering if there was any difference between people trafficking and sheep rustling. Ian McKelvey said that in the House. Mr O'Connor said it doesn't really matter when old people go to the doctor, you know, if it's early on in their illness or later on. They'll end up in hospital anyway. It was an extraordinary comment. It's on the public record. It's in Hansard's. It'll be another one that I think will need to be distributed. Why don't we get some facts on the table to consider in this bill? It costs about $30 to $35 for a person who's over 65 to go to the doctor. That's the average across New Zealand. Over half of over 65-year-olds in New Zealand are totally dependent on superannuation. And if you go up to the next 20%, 80% of their income is from superannuation. We can be very proud of our level of superannuation compared to many countries, but it doesn't leave a lot left over. Doesn't leave a lot left in your pocket every week, and if you've had something big break down, whether it's a fridge or a washing machine, a car, roof's leaking, you need some big expenditure, that will chew away at your savings pretty fast. And if you've been on a low fixed income for your entire life and then you go into superannuation, then going to the doctor might just be that expense you can't afford. And we know that if frail people are sick and don't get treatment, they end up in hospital, and who wins from that? Who wins from a person with a preventable illness not being treated and ending up in hospital? I can't see any winners out of that. Simon O'Connor clearly can see a winner out of somebody who's 75, contributed all their life to the good of our community in one way or another, can't afford to go to the doctor, they end up in hospital. He said that doesn't matter. They would have ended up in hospital at some stage anyway. 3 doctor's visits a year for an over 65-year-old is about the equivalent of a quarter of one hair straightener at Moby. For every pensioner who has 3 doctor's visits a year, it's about a quarter of one hair straightener. And I think for every person who gets early treatment, who ends up not getting worse, not being sick, not being hospitalised, or just not being really unwell, actually, that's bad for them, even if it doesn't cost us money. I think that's a good investment. I wouldn't often say this to the Right Honourable Winston Peters in regard to his view on people for superannuation, but I think he could have gone further. In this bill, I would like to see him go further. Access to primary health care should be something that this House should strive for, so that people who get unwell get access to a doctor or a nurse as early as possible. And if there is money that is the barrier, then we should say, what is the priority for spending of this government and this parliament? And I think older people should be quite high on the list. They don't have an opportunity to make additional money often. They are dependent on what is, compared to all of us in this House, a low fixed income. This bill would have given them better quality of life, reduced our health expenditure with just 1% of uptake of these people not going into hospital. It would have been financially neutral. I urge the government members to think again, support old people and support this bill to Select Committee.
Barbara Courage.